We begin in South Africa, where the fire in the parliament in Cape Town flared up late this afternoon. The roof of the National Assembly caught fire as winds picked up, leading to even more damage to the historic building. A man is expected to appear in court on Tuesday, facing charges of arson, housebreaking, and charges relating to the country's National Key Point Act. Leaders in Parliament briefed the media today and denied reports that reduced security staffing could have resulted in someone breaking into the building on Sunday morning. These claims were made by the union Nehawu, whose members work at Parliament. The spokesperson for Cape Town's Fire and Rescue Service, Jermaine Carelse, says there are about 60 personnel actively fighting the fire in the roof of the South African National Assembly in Cape Town.
Before 5, when the crews alerted us to a fire in the roof void. At that time, there were only about six fire engines and about 30 personnel on scene. The officer in charge immediately called upon more resources. As you saw, there's a lot of fire engines that was bust in. So we currently have about 10 fire appliances on scene, with about 60 personnel actively fighting the fire in the roof void. As you can see, it's little bit hampered and a bit challenging for the guys due to the slope of the roof as well as the wind fanning the fire continuously.
And I've been joined by Nehawu's Parliament spokesman, Themba Gubula. Themba, good to see you and thanks for your time. The Speaker of Parliament spoke to the public today saying that someone must be held responsible for this breach in security. Where do you think the blame lies?
No, good evening and good evening to your viewers. I think as the union in Parliament, we believe that the person that should take accountability is the accounting officer of Parliament, who is currently the acting secretary to the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa, Ms. Baby Chow. And we are saying this because we believe that she has failed to manage Parliament at the level of a national key point that Parliament is. There's been non-compliance with the health and safety standards under her watch. There's been security breaches in Parliament under her watch, because if indeed there was an intruder that came into Parliament and started a fire which then spread and destroyed a seat of democracy in South Africa, a national key point, a hope for many poor communities in our country, then that it points to the lapse in the security controls, that the security of a national key point has been breached. But also that even when the fire was started, Parliament ought to have had systems adequate to respond to any kind of a fire, meaning your sprinklers, your smoke detectors. They were supposed to be regularly serviced so that they are able to respond to any fire, whether it was started by an arsonist or it started because of some fault. So either way, we are saying as the union, the laws of the Republic, they place the responsibility of ensuring a safe and the healthy environment squarely on the shoulders of an accounting officer.
Now, let me jump in here, Themba, quickly. Now, your group, Nehawu, has said that some recent shift changes could have led to less security on the weekend. Tell us more about this.
Again here, a management decision, which we find strange as a union, was taken to say the protection officers in Parliament who were working over the December period must only work Mondays until and to Fridays, and not work weekends and public holidays, because Parliament claiming not to have money to pay them overtime for those additional hours of a weekend and the public holidays. Something which we say is the union, you cannot place monetary value over the security of a national key point such as Parliament. I mean, 7 employees, how much overtime would you have really paid them from 16 December until 2nd of January when the fire broke out? So we're saying that Parliament management was reckless in the decision they took. It was actually negligence in that they took a decision that was ill-advised.
And this recklessness and negligence you talk about, perhaps looking at this historic building, one great one for the continent, and national key point as that is categorized in South Africa. Is there a need to review the security measures?
I'm no security expert. Perhaps let me put that disclaimer. However, we are of the view as the union that in its current state, Parliament is not safe. It's not a safe working environment at all, from the security perspective as well as from the health and safety perspective. You would recall in 2018, under the same current accounting officer of Parliament, a middle manager in Parliament came into the precinct with a firearm, and he shot himself in his office. And you ask yourself, how did this person gain access to a national key point with a firearm? Because there are metal detectors at all the entrances and so forth. So there's also been break-ins in Parliament. Members of the DA offices have been broken into, EFF and some of the media houses. So there's really been laxity on how security in Parliament is being dealt with. And on the side of health and safety, in March last year, there was another fire which broke out in Parliament. And we thought Parliament would learn from that fire and put its house in order to avert any such occurrences from recurring. But the events of Sunday morning, they show us that no lessons were taken from that incident of March 2020, where the fire initially broke in Parliament.
Before I let you go, Timber, quickly here, help us, how would you assess the work of Parliament going on, knowing full well that this fire may have affected activities of parliamentarians?
Look, I think this is one thing perhaps I must clarify. Much has been insinuated, or there's been suppositions made by the Speaker and any other person that the union is not patriotic. That's far from the truth. The union cannot be jubilant when such a historical and critical institution such as Parliament is up in flames, because we understand the important role that Parliament plays in our society. It's a place that our own members of the union go and make a living for themselves and their families, but also serve the country. So we are also heart-wrenched as the union by what happened, and we are offering ourselves, we will work with the management of Parliament to make sure that the business of Parliament continues, so that the people of South Africa do not suffer because of some recklessness and negligent behavior by some of the people we have mentioned before. So as the union, we want the work of Parliament to continue. We will work with Parliament to make sure that the business of Parliament is not hindered in any way.
Themba Gubula, many thanks for your time.